Welcome to Success Saudi, a podcast featuring leaders and entrepreneurs in KSA. Our aim is to provide you with local tips and wisdom to help you on your own journey to success. My name is Maria Kameti, and I'm here today with Sara Batterjee. Sara is the founder and general manager of Focal Building Solutions, or FBS. FBS is an award-winning interior design firm and fit-out contractor founded in 2006 with two main offices in Riyadh and Jeddah and more than 100 employees. FBS handles everything from conceptualization to design, fit-out, and furnishing. Special thanks to Dur Al Hada Compound for hosting us in today's interview. Sara, thank you so much for being with us this morning. So my first question for you is, can you tell us what is Focal Building Solutions?
Okay, so FBS is an interior design and fit out company. We also provide furniture, and we've been in the market for the past 19 years. So we work on commercial projects like offices, government buildings, restaurant, hospitality, all type of commercial, businesses. And yeah.
And how did you get into this industry? Did you study design, architecture?
Yeah, I actually, I studied interior design
Okay.
as a bachelor degree, and then I did my master's in environmental design of buildings, which is related to sustainable design, LEED certification, and how to apply the natural resources within any city within the building, and to make sure that you get benefit of the energy, the natural energy around you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So is that something that you wanted to do since you were younger? Like, have you always been drawn towards that kind of thing?
Actually, it is because when I used to be a girl in my parents' house, I used to rearrange my room let's say, every couple of months with the same furniture and the same,
Yeah.
items that I have. But every couple of months, I like to rearrange the room, put the bed in a different direction, change the flooring, have new curtains, add some accessories. Of course, at that time, I didn't know that this is a talent or
Yeah.
something, but my mother actually discovered that. And then I went into art and I started drawing. And especially at that time, there's no social media. The TV was very, limited. And my parents really, they like art, they like architecture, and they like design. So I think I inherited that from that, aspect. And working on that during my childhood years really developed, that talent. And then I was thinking that I wanted to be an international artist.
What kind of artist? Like,
Paintings.
paints.
Yeah,
Okay.
mainly paintings. I used to do art with chalk and with pencil, just pencil drawing. And then at a certain time, I developed into, I never did oil painting, but mainly black and white and portraits of different people. So I was very passionate about it, and listening to music and doing art at a teenager age was energy relieving.
Sounds like
Okay.
a healthy outlet.
Exactly, exactly. And I see people now doing, courses in just, art therapy and all of that. So I think that was part of it. It releases energy, it makes you calm. And it was the creative aspect of my brain that really, working.
Did your parents encourage that? Did they do anything, from their side to
Definitely.
really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had, at that time, I used to live in Jeddah.
Mm-hmm.
So we had one art center for a very famous artist, Safiya bin Zagar, her name. And they used to give courses for young ladies and girls, how to, basic of art and basic of drawing. And it was really, really nice. And also at a point of time when I really developed those skills and really my mother saw the potential, um, she was introduced to an Italian lady who lives in Saudi and had an art background. She contacted her and she, asked her to come and give me some classes at home, like a private class.
Mm-hmm.
And that really developed a lot of skills.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually, I have some art in my house that is, produced by me at that time. And one of my future projects is going back to that art. Yeah,
Really?
inshallah, inshallah.
Is the painting something you've continued to nurture, or did you kind of set it aside as you
Actually,
got into business and
it's because I don't have the time.
yeah.
I try to divide my time between, running the business and taking care of my family and having the social aspect in my
Yeah.
life and, um, settling in Riyadh and settling with all those changes and expanding the company. So really, I don't have the time, but I still have it like a big corner there in my Pinterest because I have. Maybe this is gonna be in a different discussion.
Okay. So you gravitated towards the arts and design, and you went on to study that and interior design. And then did you get a job after school, or did you start your company directly?
No, actually, toward the last semester in college, I got engaged and I met my husband right now. And I took a couple of freelancing projects, very small project after graduation until I got married.
Okay.
So it was around 6 months maybe of just small projects and through family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we got married and my husband got a job in Dubai. So we moved to Dubai for 3 years, where I did my master degree there and I was working also there in an architecture and design company.
Okay.
And so I was working and studying at the same time because the program was made for people who have a full-time job. It was an amazing period of my life, honestly, because we had the chance to get to know each other in an open environment, in a different, away from the family and
Yeah.
all the pressure and all of that. And I was, Dubai at that time was booming. It was 2003, 2004. And the development, the architecture, the interior, it was amazing experience. So I really learned a lot from the architects that I was working with at that time, from the projects that I was exposed to. I dealt with ministries over there in UAE.
Wow.
And of course, I met a lot of, architects and designers and suppliers and made a lot of friends there. Yeah, and that's how I started my, professional career.
Okay. And then did you always know that you guys were going to move back to Jeddah or to Saudi?
Yeah, nothing for certain, but yeah, I think we didn't, know exactly how many years of we'll be living there, but eventually, and even now, I never think of retiring outside of Saudi, honestly. I love my country and I love being around the people that I grew up with and my friends and and feeling that home, wherever I go, it feels home. So I know a lot of my friends, they think that they want to retire in, Switzerland or Egypt or whatever, but I don't think I can do that. I prefer to always come back home. Um, and yeah, so that wasn't the plan. Then again, my husband got an offer back
Okay.
in Jeddah.
So that's what brought you back?
Yes, and we went back to Jeddah after 3 years. It was toward my end courses of the master's degree. So he moved back to Jeddah, And I stayed for 6 months alone, finalizing, the rest of the courses. I had a Porsche at that time. So I was really living my life.
You had a what?
A Porsche.
Oh, a Porsche car.
So I was
Oh,
really
wow.
living my life, especially at that time. Saudi ladies were not allowed to drive in Saudi.
Right.
So I was, saying goodbye to the freedom.
No children yet.
No children yet.
Yeah.
And that was planned because I was there alone, doing the masters and working and, having my whole life set up. And when we came back to Jeddah, after maybe 4 or 5 months, I got bored. I was not employed yet. And at that time, I decided to look into opportunities.
Okay.
So basically, I had an offer from Emar. It was one of the top companies at that time, building Cake, which is King Abdullah Economic City. And I had a good offer. I consulted my father, and I wanted to take his opinion of what do you think I should do and all of that. And he was encouraging me to open my own business because he's a businessman.
Okay.
And we come from a very well-established business family in different aspects, in education, in hospitals, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and real estate. So it really affects you're brought up when you have a family who are very familiar with doing business, all around the world. So he was encouraging me to go and have my own, company. I was hesitant at the beginning, but he, told me that don't worry, I will support you. Whatever you need, I can, back you up. Not really financially as much as psychologically and
Yeah.
and especially that at that time, working women were not, there yet.
Right.
It was 2006, 2007, and female in the workforce were not recognized yet. And one of my first projects were developing and establishing female section within existing companies, whether it's private or international, multinational. So I got some requests from different companies to come and see the space and create female section. And it was a section. So it has a private entrance and it has a separation, a complete separation between male and female.
And then how many years later did you go back and remove those?
Yeah, exactly. It took a couple of years, I can say,
Wow. So as women were just transitioning into the workforce, having their own sections in certain industries, right? Not even all industries.
Exactly. And even the industry that we work in as a design and contracting or fit out, it was not established yet, and especially licensing the interior design regulations and certificate and all of that. So you can actually be a graduate from an interior design degree, but there isn't a well set up to have and to own a business. It goes back to architecture or engineering, but the interior design was not there yet. Can you imagine that? So I had to do a shortcut, okay, and find a way to get the license and set up the whole thing. And that's where my father came. Checking how can we do things, legalizing, the company and doing all of that.
So was it just you when you started out and with some help from your father? Or did you hire somebody to work with you from the onset?
No. It was only me at the beginning.
Okay.
And as I told you before, we had an empty office. It was an empty space at my father's building.
Okay.
He has his own company, and there was an empty level, one of the building, and he offered it for free.
Mm-hmm.
And there where I called Khulud Attar, my cousin, and I asked her if she wants, at that time, she was also thinking about doing the design magazine and design network. And we said, yes, let's do that. So we used to go to the office together. She's doing her own business. I'm doing my own. And it's only, the encouragement and the spirit of, waking up in the morning, dressing up, going to a place where you actually sit and do professional work. Because I used to live at home. I have no kids. So it was an option to stay at home and just work from home.
Right.
But I needed that push and that setup to actually, go to the next step and really
Mm-hmm.
feel that. And until now, when I go to the office, I wear the hat of, engineer Sara Batterjee, or the owner of the company, of the professional setup and hat. And when I go back home, I really try to take off that hat and keep it at least in the car to get into the motherly figure and the wifey setup, and you know getting relaxed and to the mood of being at home.
Yeah.
It's not easy because our domain has a huge amount of stress, especially when you talk about fit out and contractors and labor and, you know, engineering problems and deadlines and client expectations. And it's really one of the most difficult fields, honestly.
Yeah, that's so I was telling you we have a plot of land and we were thinking of building a house, but even for small projects, little renovations, anytime we're dealing with contractors or stuff, I hear my husband on the phone like yelling.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't want to do this. Like, it's so stressful.
Yeah.
So to have your whole business, I mean, I'm sure you found great partners to work with, but
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole thing must be
It's
stressful.
not easy because it has so many different aspects in that field. You need to deal with engineering and design, and then you need to deal with the execution part and the subcontractors and the labor and the procurement of the material. And then you need to deal with management and project management, and you need to deal with marketing and client, expectation and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to deal with people within the company and their own, problems and expectations. So
That's
it
a
is
lot.
very diverse.
Yeah.
And here comes the complexity of it. It's not only, one part of, just consultation and doing some, research and, looking into and searching and all of that and analysis. You're dealing with so many aspects.
A lot of
And
moving pieces.
exactly.
Wow. So when you started in that empty space in your father's building and you and Khalud went in, you were both working on your own businesses. Did you kind of help keep each other energized?
Definitely.
Because one of the things I love about having co-founders is you do that. You keep each other energized. When somebody's not feeling it, the other helps lift the other up. So did you guys kind of play that role for each other?
Definitely. Definitely. Of course, we're not partners.
Yeah.
But just going to the office, knowing that someone is there,
Mm-hmm.
and at least during lunch break or when you have a break or coffee, there's someone you talk to, and just um, telling what happened during the day, if I got a new project. It was very nice, and supportive, part of that journey. But by the way, being an entrepreneur is really a lonely road. It's not, it's not easy, and I didn't have the chance to have a partner. Okay, and the field has so many designers and architects, but when you don't find someone who really up to your vision, your goals, it's not easy to pick a partner and to find a partner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's like one of the key parts of doing business is finding good partners because the wrong ones will just
Yeah.
make your life miserable.
True.
So let's talk about your field with renovation, design, building. What are some common mistakes that you see from business owners or businesses when they are making a new office? What are some mistakes maybe they make in their design?
Well, anyone who has a new project, a fundamental step is to know exactly what you want and what you need. And so, a new client coming with a new idea, trying to establish a new office or a new company, they need to know what exactly they need to have as functions, number of people, how do they want the environment to be, because this is not something we can tell them how to do it.
Right.
We can tell them how to engineer it, how to divide the space, what kind of material we can use to affect the vision that they want to have. So a client without a clear vision of what they have in mind, what is the setup should be, what is the outcome of this company, is really really important. And setting up a budget, because in so many cases we start up with a new project and then we putting all the requirements and the number of people, the design, the setup, the selections, and toward the end of the design package we figures that the budget is too tight, or there's no budget. And then comes the struggle. Then you have to cut off and make value engineering, and you go major steps back to try to fix that. So after a couple of experiences and couple of years of doing that, I decided not to work with any client who doesn't have a budget. Even if they don't have they don't know what's the budget, we sit together and talk about it, and I come up with a budget, work it out with them to have a figure. It's a reference figure for him and for us to work toward.
Makes sense.
Exactly. So even if they don't have a budget, I have to work it out with them to guide my team how to do things and how to select the material. So that's a very important part. And I see clients every day with very, big established companies that they don't want to reveal the budget. So how can we,
What are we working with?
Exactly. I can establish an office with literally 12,000 riyal per square meter and do the same space with 5,000 riyal per square meter. So you're talking less than half. And both of them are beautiful and both of them are functional. But setting a budget is very important to know how to do things and make it successful. At the end, it's not my taste. It's what the project needs. Yeah.
So having a vision for their business and how many people and what the functions and what's required of the space, having a budget, anything else that's important in the beginning?
Basic understanding of how things work, for any project, you need to start with the requirements, the functions, and then the design, the details of it, the material selection, and then we go to the execution part. So how long, every step needs, because some clients also come with unrealistic expectation of time.
No.
And they think that things finish in a blink.
Oh,
and it really takes time to develop, all the details, selecting the material, procuring the material, starting on site, assigning the resources, the labor, and doing things with quality really take time. So giving the right time and knowing basic fundamental of project management and how things really are done.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. And nowadays we're getting a lot of requests in residential projects.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which I avoided for so many years. But I have really good clients who I worked with before doing their own, offices and all of that. And they see the value of working with FBS and with me personally. And they were, asking to do their own, villas and
Oh, I'm
palaces.
sure.
And, being in the business, it's a good opportunity. So I put my own rules. The
Mhm.
first rule is to have a project management company or person who will take care of all the business and the project management aspect, whether
Yeah.
it's timeline, budget, payments, quality. Because when you work with an individual who doesn't have the background of how to build things,
Yeah.
they don't know, and I don't blame them. I don't, what expectation should I have?
Right.
Should I have from them? So when I, talk to those, clients, and I told them that this is my only way to do business with
Yeah.
you when it comes to personal projects, they were willing to take it.
Good for you for
Mhm.
establishing that. I mean, it makes sense. So do you find the project manager or they
No, they usually assign a project manager from their side because the project management company will be representing the client.
okay.
So they will be sitting with the client, understanding what budget does he have, and then the timeline, and guiding the client what's right and what's wrong, and what expectations he should have.
So you communicate with the project manager and you're just basically responsible for the execution.
Exactly.
And they're handling all the communications and the fun part.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Okay, got it. Interesting. Well, I'm sure your clients really appreciate that you took that on, and it's amazing that you were able to also find a way that it works for you and like this is how I can do it, so this is what I can offer and yeah.
It's when you talk about business, it has a very big aspect of dealing with people. Okay, when you're a business owner, and making all these connections with people who are, you get to know them through projects,
Yeah.
and then some of them became friends and became good, any social network people that you don't want to lose them. Okay,
Yeah.
especially when they trust you, they saw that you have something different, and they want to continue doing business with you. So it was a kind of a pressure, at the same time a privilege
Yeah.
to be recognized, and you know just deciding not to work with anyone else but Sarah or FBS. And this is important, and that's the story of my life. I did that. I started with that part of professional industry, and then maybe moving to another, developing the residential or the palaces part of it. And then, and I like to keep my options open and explore, yet knowing where mistakes could happen and where, the risks could come.
Yeah.
And from, having that experience, I know exactly where the mistakes and where the problems could happen.
Mhm.
So setting up special rules for that, I think will make it work.
So did you do residential work in the past?
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
Okay.
Couple of projects, maybe two or three.
Okay.
And the projects were amazing, the type of the villa, the concept, the location, but dealing with the client was a disaster.
I would
And that's
imagine.
where
Yeah.
I decided to put it, on hold, and just focus on the commercial and the B2B business.
Yeah.
And after really knowing what's the risks and how
Mhm.
to mitigate it and how to avoid it, and now I'm rethinking the whole part of the residential, and having my own rules to make this successful.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
For small business owners without big budgets, do you have any tips or things that they can consider when designing their space?
Well, yeah, I can advise them, first of all, not to go big in space, because as a motto in my life, I like to focus on quality rather than quantity. So when you have a smaller space that is well done, is much better than having a very big space that is, poor of quality, or you don't put the right materials on, or you get cheap materials.
Mhm.
So go to or select a smaller space that you can invest and put nice investment on it to develop it and make it something really different and special, rather than going to a bigger space where you barely put the fundamental like the AC or electrical, or and then you don't have enough budget to do the beautiful things like flooring and paintings and all of that. And then with growing, you can develop, you can add, you can extend the space, and
Yeah, that's a
get a
great
bigger
tip.
space. Yeah.
How does FBS typically get new clients?
Honestly, word of mouth.
I saw that you have your business profile on your LinkedIn page. I like that.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
has to be there.
Yeah, I don't know why I never thought
Um,
about that, but
yeah, it has to be there
yeah.
because we get a lot of requests through LinkedIn. It's a
Do
professional
you?
platform, yeah, and people communicate. And honestly, throughout all social media, and you will be surprised of the level and the amount of people that communicate with us through social media.
Which social media platforms?
Both LinkedIn and Instagram,
Okay.
because our industry is really focused on visuals,
Mm-hmm.
photos, videos of before and after, during the construction, during the design process. So people like to see before and after. And we love, posting the progress of the project during site, the problems that we face, the struggle, the labor, the people who are really building that place, and especially that we have our own labor. So I like to put them there. I like them to see that they are being appreciated, and the whole world is watching their what their craftsmanship
Yeah.
or they're doing. So through social media, but honestly, continuous business comes from word of mouth.
Okay.
So many of our clients recommend us to other clients, and that's very powerful. Honestly, I found people believe other when having that experience with a certain company and having that reputation of making sure that things are being done professionally, done on time, and done with quality, and that's very rare in our industry.
Yes. Do you also have like partnerships or relationships with certain contractors and you kind of like refer each other?
Of course.
Yeah. Is that
um
a big part of?
Yeah, our industry doesn't really work with one entity that. Of course, there is a mega companies who does everything under one umbrella, but I really believe in uh, partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have good partners who we have joint venture with in certain projects, and some of our partners, they're a separate entity, but we've been working together for the past 6-8 years. Constantly in each project, we work together. We put a budget. The team already know each other. There's a nice synergy between the people with both companies, and that works when you have the same values and the same vision. You want to please the client. You want to make sure that the client gets a good product at the end. The whole experience is well thought of, and the care is there. So yeah, we have a list of partners and we have them in our company profile. So I'm proud to say that our partners are so and so.
That's amazing. I feel like that's the best way to work.
Yeah.
Just to do what you're good at and then partner with other people or companies that are really good at what they do too, instead of like trying to do everything. I don't know, personally, that's how I feel.
I agree. And especially with the expenses nowadays and the overhead,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be very flexible and agile while doing, and expanding the business, to make sure that whatever surprises comes to the market, economically, that you are prepared to, absorb this.
Yeah.
So having partners who can support you and do their own part, and get focused into your own part, I think it's a good idea. And I also prefer, doing it this way. Although maybe other companies, they like to do everything within their under one umbrella. But for me, even being specialized in a certain, line is much better than being uh, mediocre in, so many different things.
Yes. And that's who you want to work with, like, as a customer. You want somebody who's like just really good at what
Yes.
they do.
Mhm.
And I feel like the larger you get as an organization, like the more your work as like the founder or CEO becomes like the HR and all these other aspects of business, which maybe is not what you love.
Exactly. Tell me about it.
So, you have any key approaches when you're pitching like a big client? I mean, do you have to do that? I have to imagine they consider different firms and you have to go in and present your company.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate FBS from others?
Of course, lately, and especially lately with the expansion of the company, and being exposed to government, semi-government, PIF projects, there is a very big competition, especially with companies who's coming from abroad.
Okay.
So they're international companies, and basically our number one competition are international companies, not local, because our industry, as you know, it's a design and fit out, is considered a very new industry in Saudi. So the real experiences came from international companies who did that before in Dubai, in Qatar, and in Europe, in America, and all of that. So our real competition is basically international companies. They have good experience, and I don't mind competing with them because that elevates our quality. We make sure that we are at an international level. And the way to make us different, and what's special about FBS is two things. First of all, that we are local.
Yeah.
So we know the culture, we know the expectation from the end user. We know what the government is looking for, the local content, local suppliers, how things are done, where are the risks really. It's a big risk when you come from abroad as a company and work in Saudi. It's not easy. We have our own rules and our own way of
Ways to
communicating.
navigate. Yeah.
Exactly. So being local in so many aspects give us a strength.
Yeah.
From knowing how to do things to the social aspect and the expectation of the end user, especially with the fast development. Yani, we're talking about, doing business and having mixed environment in the professional, entities with a very recent development and how can I say it? Those entities used to work in a different way just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And now the expectation of being international, mixed environment, mixing international, different nationalities from abroad with locals, Saudis and Arab, is not easy. How can you mix this? How can you make the environment and this office or the space welcoming for both, for all nationalities? It's not easy. You really need to know what it takes, how people think, what will they accept, because it was completely different a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And you cannot just come and apply whatever happened abroad, whatever in the world,
Right.
and just paste it here.
Yep.
You really need to understand the social aspect, the male and female, part of it,
Yeah.
the international and the globalization, aspect of it, to make it successful.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe anyone can create a space, can build a space, but is it working for the people, for the team, for the employees? Is it hitting the vision of the CEO? Is it getting, the financial and the success of the business from that space? So, and we had a couple of projects and requests for certain client that they worked with other companies before, but they didn't get it. They didn't know how to execute what the client really wants. Maybe when you enter the space, it's there. You can see furniture, you can see,
Yeah.
colors, you can see finishes, but it's not working. People are not comfortable.
Yeah, and even I have to imagine, like, because for the client, like, it's not their main business, so they can tell you what they want, but they really rely on you to say, no, actually, you want this.
Exactly. And that works
And
better
yeah,
in that line of business. And the other point is honestly building trust. Okay, being local and being from Saudi and having a certain reputation.
mm-hmm.
At the end, Saudi is a very small country. So really, really, people know each other,
Yeah.
and um, families know each other. The
Mm-hmm.
people who live, whether in Jeddah or Riyadh or Khobar, at the end, it's really a small country. So when you do something good and the word is there, people will hear. And
Yep.
especially that we depend a lot on word of mouth and recommendation and from our clients. So having the trust and the good reputation is important. And I always go to the pitch knowing that whenever I go there, most probably I will meet someone who I know their cousin or their family, or and that's sometimes a good thing and a bad thing
Yeah, I
because
can
you don't
imagine.
know what's their experience with your uncle or
Right.
um, your relative or your cousin, but at least they know who you are. Get my point?
Yes.
And that I will never disappear. At the end, I'm
Right.
Saudi. I'm local. I will always be here.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in contracting field, it's a very tricky, field.
Oh,
So
yeah.
people would really love to have someone who's trustworthy and have that, good reputation to trust.
So they come to you for the local knowledge and expertise and connections, and you're very grounded here, of course. Do you also show them that, look, we had these partners, I had this experience, what I did in Dubai, like we're staying on top of international standards? Like, is that a big part of it
Course.
too? Yeah.
I have to tick all these, boxes before going to being local and, cultural.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you're not up to the level in terms of quality and international level
Yeah.
and engineering and all of that, they will not look into
Dismiss
you.
you. Yeah.
Exactly. So these are, basics.
Okay.
And then comes the special part of FPS. Got my point?
Yes. Got it.
This is the base of it. And then having all those international awards. We got 11 international awards for the past 3 years, in the past 3 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so
Awesome.
much. Where it really says that FBS is up to, the international level. And our competition in those awards are all international. I can really name the local firms that really got onto those awards or were our competition in those awards. Maybe 2 or 3 only.
Wow.
Mm.
When the client chooses to go with an international firm, which you say is like your biggest competitor right now, when they get the project, do they often just hire you? Like, is that how it works?
They often what? They often
Hire you to work with them on it?
no, it's either us or them.
Okay, so they wouldn't get the project and then like bring you on as a partner or something for
No.
that local no. Okay, it's completely separate.
I don't do that, honestly.
Is that something that's done now?
When the project is divided into design stage and then execution stage,
Okay.
you can do it in so many ways. Okay, there is the design stage,
Yep.
and then there's the fit out stage, and there is the furniture.
Yep.
So some of the projects are divided into those different stages, and some of the projects are all in one, which is a
Okay.
turnkey project.
Okay.
And this is where we do the best. We
Okay.
design, execute, and get the furniture. So sometimes the client requests to have our design and our input in the design phase, and then get an international company to do the fit out.
Got it.
And sometimes it's the opposite way around. Okay. But from my experience, doing designs with international, it could be successful. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but maybe it's not getting the full potential, of, that contract. Because in each country that you go, there is special details about the social aspect of doing anything that it would be an added value to know it.
So you're saying to know it in each aspect of the project, not just the
design or
just the
the fit out.
furnishing. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just give you an example, especially in furniture. Okay.
Yeah.
Saudi men, they like chairs to be wide and comfortable.
I've noticed that.
Exactly.
I didn't know that was a Saudi man thing.
I'm not sure if it's only men or female as well, but in general, because we deal a lot with male and with men,
Yeah.
they like furniture to be wide and comfortable, and they hate small furniture that is, not really comfortable. But when you go to Europe, for example, most of the furniture are very small, very compact, because the spaces are small and compact. And the people accept, to have that. They don't have a problem with that. They don't feel it's not comfortable. But here, no, they want something comfortable with a certain back level, with a certain width. So, and you will be surprised how client could really get into details. We're talking about even, for example, faucets. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't like when it's used for example, wudu. If it's not at a certain angle with a certain, dimension,
Right.
it's going to be very tricky to use it for washing your feet, for example.
Yes.
So details like these, it's impossible for someone who doesn't perform those, things, and who doesn't understand the steps to actually do it and do it right. So now in our project, sometimes we apply a special design way of doing wudu. It's something within a ground level. You don't have to, elevate your feet.
Yeah.
You can wash it with. So things like that, which makes your life easier, especially when you're talking about majority of people are, Saudi and locals. They will need those stuff.
I think the Americans are similar with the furniture, like how the guys like the big furniture and
that's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you talked about word of mouth is huge, of course, and social media is important for you. You have any tips, anything that's working well with marketing? You have a full-time person on social media for you?
I do
Yeah.
have an agency.
Oh, an agency.
Yes,
Okay.
working. We have a signed contract, an annual contract, to work on all our social media platforms, where we provide them with the content, and we put a social media plan, and a marketing plan, how to show things, what do you wanna send a message to the client. At the same time, because signing with them is a recent thing, and people used to love our social media and really interact with it.
Yeah.
And it was very, very spontaneous, very real. I didn't want to lose that aspect. I want to still keep it real. People know the people in the office. They watch us, working and fighting and celebrating and all these events. So when I hired the social media company, I told them that I want to have an input and I will keep my posting active as well. So we have certain things that are done, professionally with movement and
Right.
videos and all of that. At the same time, I want to keep the live story and I want to keep the live streaming
Mm-hmm.
that I do it and my team do it to keep the real, the human
Authentic,
aspect of it and the authentic, part of it.
so important now.
And I don't want to lose that. Of course, they tried to tell me, no, please don't post, your green smoothie in the morning. Let's keep it professional. But I honestly insisted because when I
Yeah.
asked people around me who will really tell me, the truth of how people see things,
Yeah.
they told me keep the personal touch in
The
it.
human aspect.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
So now it's a mix of both. We
okay.
have that, professional look and very organized page and all of that, but the personalized posting and stories are still there. And I see people interact with this much more than,
Oh yeah.
having that professional post. So I'm keeping that because that's part of my enjoyment. I like to see people comment. I want to see their interaction. I love replying to people, when they have questions about how to do things. They ask us about certain suppliers that we're using, for example, at site. So I like to interact. If I keep it just, with the agency, it's going to lose its touch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to balance it.
So are you very much the face of your company? Like you're on camera and you're interacting, people know it's you. Would you say like you're the face of your company? Like some people are more behind the scenes, but it sounds like you're
Yeah.
front and center of what you're doing.
Honestly, that's a very important question. Okay. Because when I decided to name the company 19 years ago,
Yeah.
I had the chance to call it Sara Batterjee's office. Okay. And so many people encouraged me to do that, having a certain, family name that is
Yeah.
a well known, and it will add, a strength to that. Yet, I believe in teamwork. And I'm extremely sensitive to my team who's working with me for so many years. I have people in the office are working with me more than 15 years. Really.
That's
And
such
12
a
years.
testament to your business right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So having the company with, a person name, I feel it gives that image that I don't want to give. At the end, it's really teamwork. It's very diverse. The input of each person in this company really matters. It's not only me.
Yep.
It's the construction, manager, the site engineers, the interior designers, the procurement team in the company. It's even the tea boy, the tea boy when he serves the coffee in a certain way and understand when, the client wants water or when he wants, something else. It's a whole experience.
Yep.
So if you ask me if I'm the face, I'm part. I'm part of it. يعني you cannot separate, and especially in Saudi. People really likes to know who's the owner, who's behind, this company. So again, I try to be there, and people know that FBS is Sara Batterjee. But giving credit to my team, I really wanted to have, a name that shows it's a teamwork
Mm-hmm.
and it's not only one man show. So don't expect that I will do everything, on my own. Um, yeah.
You mentioned that many of your team members have been with you for many, many years, which is amazing. Do you have any tips on like sourcing talent? And also is your team mostly made up of employees or do you have like subcontractors or
Most of the team is under our sponsorship,
okay.
the company umbrella. But as I told you, we have partnership with
Yep.
different entities. We cannot, serve all the projects with only our team. So sometimes we get subcontractors,
Okay.
especially at specialized materials and stuff.
Makes sense.
But when you talk about loyalty and people retention and having good talents, and especially nowadays, it's very, very competitive. And competing with government and semi-government companies is very difficult. We're completely private, so
Yeah.
even the salaries that we offer and is there are better maybe packages, and especially people who are really talented, they could get better opportunities.
Yep.
But the environment that we have and the teamwork, the family oriented setup, I think what really keeps them loyal. Okay. Um, at the end, and even statistics wise, when you check why employees really stay at a certain company, for number one is manager. Okay.
Yes.
And then the company environment. And maybe third is the salary. So if you really treat people in a respected way, you give them a healthy environment, you provide um, um, appreciation, incentives like bonuses, and all of that. Uh, I think it's working. Okay. And people really value working in a healthy environment.
Do you have an HR manager that helps you a lot with this stuff? Yeah. Um, yeah, I could see on your Instagram page you do like team building,
Yeah.
and it seems like you really put an emphasis and time and resources into that.
Yeah. Being a social person myself, I really know that the social aspect of everything is a big and major element. So working on the social, environment of the team and creating this um environment within an office really makes it easier for everyone to work comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
And without creating the team building activities and events and knowing each other, it's going to be very, very difficult. And I noticed that, especially this year, because this year we expanded and we hired so many more people, mashallah. So I can see, the struggle of communication between the new team and the old team, and how the old team still wants to do things the way used to be done, and the new team with new experiences, with different backgrounds, um, they want to put their own experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
So balancing between, both ends is not easy. And that's why this year I really put a good budget to work on that and make sure that people are communicating in a healthy way and understanding and doing that out of the office, communication and social event, to understand and to have that, side talks and background understanding and, family backgrounds and all of that, to make it more human,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing each other in a different setup than the professional setup makes it easier, at least in terms of communication and understanding.
For the like out of office retreats and team
Oh,
building
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, do you hire somebody to facilitate
Yeah,
that experience and you know, yeah.
yeah. Well, basically, we have two companies. One company is a consultant who we're working with this year in so many aspects, in the strategy, in the process, the internal process of the company.
Okay.
We're seeking the ISO certificate as well. And so setting up the internal, setup of the company in terms of departments, workflow, and all of that. And we have another consultant who is working with us on communication, EQ, and team building activities. So we have both, yeah.
Are these individual consultants or companies that you hired?
No, both are companies.
Both are companies? Okay. Too early to see a return, or?
No,
Yeah.
I'm already seeing a return. Yes.
Okay.
And in positive and negative way.
Oh.
Or maybe I cannot say negative, but with this change, some people are not feeling comfortable anymore, so they resigned. And some people found a big potential for them, so they really, feel that this is a very good opportunity for them to stay and grow with the company. But I was completely aware of this change is going to change a lot of things.
It's inevitable.
And I read a lot about it, and I did so many presentations to my team, especially the old team, to make
Come
sure.
on, guys.
Exactly.
This is in our best interest.
Exactly. Thank you. So, people take the change in different way, and they react to change in different way. And I was aware that I might lose some people.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because if we stayed at where we are, we're gonna fall behind.
Yeah.
Nobody stays still.
Yep.
No company, no person can stay still. You have to move forward, and there are amazing opportunity in this country. We have to make sure that we get part of the cake.
Yeah, I think that's like a really challenging aspect of growing a business, is because those people that got you from A to B are not the ones that get you from B to C, and that's like really hard.
Exactly.
So speaking about growth, you started FBS from scratch by yourself. What has helped you to grow sustainably?
Honestly, taking it step by step.
Yeah.
And understanding so many things in the business. Because as I told you, I come from an interior design and sustainable design background.
Mm-hmm.
So the business aspect and the marketing, the finance, and came with experience. It was not there. I learned with the people that I have. So I can, frankly say that I made so many mistakes, but learning from those mistakes made me and made the company stronger. And so taking it step by step, learning from mistakes and building on that really made a very strong foundation. And going through all of that was an amazing journey, because I cannot imagine myself just sitting at home and not experiencing those mistakes and learning and growing and analyzing and finding solutions. That's what keep me motivated, honestly. I'm not afraid of doing mistakes.
Yeah.
And I I knew that about myself with growing. And honestly, it's amazing how people saw this in me while I didn't see it before. I can tell you that my eldest daughter did a presentation in one of the trainings she's taking with PIF for developing her skills to go to college and all of that. So they asked her, "Who's your role model?" And she said it was me. And she did a whole presentation about me, and she wrote keywords that I never knew she saw in me. Yeah.
What were some of those?
Not afraid of doing mistakes.
Wow.
Brave.
You want your kids to learn anything, it's that, right?
Exactly.
And you're brave.
social, and knows how to network with people. So things that are real. I knew about myself at an older stage, while she saw it at a very young stage. Yani.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's just, as a parent, that's what you would love to teach your kids.
Yeah.
And she just saw that in you and learned that without you, you know,
Saying
having to
it
tell
out
her.
loud. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So one of her main words were brave, outgoing, resilient, determined. And honestly, those words made me stronger. And if I just give this um, learnings and skills to my kids, I don't even have to be successful in my business. That's enough. It's enough for them.
As long as they took that.
Exactly. It's enough
Yeah.
for them to learn that.
Because you know that's what's going to get them what they want in life
Exactly.
without unnecessary struggles,
Yeah.
right?
And accepting whatever is happening. You know, if you don't fail and you don't make mistakes, you will never know what's next. You will stay still.
Right.
And that's a backward already.
Right. You won't know how to do it right
Yeah. And
sometimes until you figure out how to do it wrong.
Yeah. And how to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So I wanted to touch on a little bit. You helped to really like formalize your sector. When you started, like you were saying, there weren't clear regulations and licensing. And I feel like I mean, I don't hear that as much anymore, but a lot of people, when they were getting started, it's like, well, this
Yeah.
never existed here before, so I'm kind of charting the
Yeah.
path here. So, can you give us any tips about, how to start a business in a sector or field that's not like,
Mhm. Okay. Honestly, when I started 19 years ago, there weren't certification for specific offices who does interior design. And it only served architectural engineering or contracting. So that field was still very fresh, even in terms of market and their needs. But that point really didn't stop me. I tried to find a way to get a kind of license that make me, perform whatever the services that we are providing in a legal way.
Yep.
And I was part of the Saudi Engineer Council
From the
which-
beginning.
Yeah, when they wanted to establish the interior design chapter and make sure to understand the market and what it takes to establish an interior design office and what kind of certificate you need and all of that. And I gave some input. I gave them some information. We did some, research and setup and all of that. But until now, I'm not satisfied with the way they're doing it, honestly. But I believe that things are progressing. As long as you see that there are effort to do things the right way,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. And as long as I can perform my business in the right and legal way, it's fine with that. The time will come where things will be very clear to
Right.
the authorities to know how things are being divided
Yeah.
and how things should be done. So my advice for those fresh industries that doesn't have, the legal setup yet is find a legal way, even if it's not perfect for you or the way that you are convinced how to do things. It's okay. This country is developing and it's developing very fast. So I believe things will be, very clear very soon. Just try to find a way, and that's it.
Did you have to consult with a law firm, or your father's knowledge was he had enough to guide you?
No, because my father doesn't come from engineering background, so we
Yeah.
really didn't know how to tackle that. But I went myself to different authorities,
Okay.
Minister of Labor, to Saudi Council of Engineers, to know what's the right to do it. And then I figured out that there's no license for interior.
So you
and
made the rounds yourself.
exactly. And I remember very clearly when I went to the Ministry of Labor, and they were asking me and what exactly is you're doing. Tell me
Yeah.
the steps of the work that you do, and how to make it legal, and how to get the CR, the
Yeah.
commercial registration, and what to write in it. And I was also consulting the team there. I'm sure that there are other people who wanted to do something with interior, whether it's interior consultation or execution, and you have, a certain write up to legalize that. And they had something
Mm-hmm.
written. I was not happy with what's there, but at least it's make it legal.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that everything is, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's still there. Didn't change.
Oh, really? It's still
It's
hasn't
the
changed?
same write-up, maybe change a little bit. And I have another license for the design part of it.
Okay.
Because as you know, it's a design part and execution part.
Yep.
And completely two different CR for each.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you want to work only as a designer, you take this certificate. And if you want to execute, you take another certificate.
Ah,
Yeah.
so it can't even be
And
under
that
the
was
same.
developed recently. We're talking about the past 4 years, maybe, or 5 years only.
Have you stayed involved with any organizations either related to your field or professional networking associations, or any organizations that have helped you professionally and personally?
Honestly, I'm a member and a board member in the EO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Entrepreneur Organization. It's an international organization that has over 35,000 members around the world. So it's an amazing organization for networking, and it helps entrepreneurs to overcome some of the challenges and provide them with training and networking opportunities. So if I need if I have a question or I need a service in any part of the world, any country, there is a person who is working within the same field and within this organization could help me to, ask the question and know what to do.
And
So
people are willing to help each other, and
you cannot imagine how the spirit is there. They are very helpful in so many ways. And you will be surprised how entrepreneurs have a very similar skills and needs. So when you are an entrepreneur, for example, in China, you have very similar needs when you're in Saudi, okay? And there where we connect, okay? And when you sit with those people and talk, there is a lot to talk about and a lot of, conversation and similarities where makes things very easy to communicate.
when did you join the
Last year.
Oh,
Yeah.
so only last year.
Exactly.
And do you have to qualify?
Definitely.
Okay.
They have a very strict criteria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the professional setup and the professional targets and
Yeah.
and an interview.
Oh,
So
wow.
even personality wise, you need to hit the criteria, because when you're there, it's really like a family, and when you sit with them, it's an open heart communication.
That's
You should not be ashamed of your fails and your mistakes. You communicate very openly. They support you with so many things. It's amazing. Although I've been there for 1 year, But I've learned a lot of things, from the people that I met, and I'm still looking. I think there's couple of events that are happening very soon, so I'm really looking forward to join.
Anything local? Any organizations? Or have you been able to get support or assistance from any of the Saudi entities that are supporting entrepreneurs? Do you see a need for something local for business owners?
Honestly, I'm sure there are a lot.
You just haven't tapped in.
Yeah, and you have to remember that I started 19 years ago, so I'm not there. I'm not in that stage yet.
Yeah.
I'm not in that
Anymore.
stage anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
If I want to learn something or I need something, I have to go get it myself. Especially in also training and all of that. It was not sponsored or anything. I paid fully for it.
Yeah. There weren't
like
the incentives
financial-
that there are now.
Exactly, like financial, courses, networking opportunities. So honestly, no,
Yeah.
I didn't have that support from local entities. Maybe I didn't look enough, or maybe I didn't need. I was more focused on the company, the outcome.
Yeah, it was a different time
Exactly.
too when you probably most needed these resources.
Probably.
So the entrepreneurs what is it? EO.
Yeah.
You said that's been helpful this past year, also like with the challenges in business. So has there been a time in these 19 years that you felt like giving up?
Oh. That's, honestly, that question is, I can tell you every day.
It usually ranges from like every week to every day.
Believe me, and especially recently, it's becoming very challenging with the demand of the projects and the demand of the clients. But I know that I will never give up.
What keeps you going?
What keeps me going is the results that I see, the respect and trust that I get from my clients. Really.
Do you ever feel like you just want to like get rid of like what you're doing and just start something else? Start from scratch?
Yeah, but it's very difficult to think of it that way.
Yeah.
Because it's, I have 3 daughters and FBS is the 4th one. It's really my baby. It grew from scratch and really step by step, not too fast. So 19 years is not a short time. It's part of me. So even if I want to slow down as a person, I never think of it to sell it or get rid of it, as much as having the right team and the right people to manage it. But it will always be part of my life, honestly.
So, how do you, because like you're saying, there's so much opportunity right now in your industry, and you've been focusing on commercial, and now you have all these clients that want you to do residential, and you're also a mom with 3 daughters, and you have your family. And with all the challenges, I imagine sometimes you do like want to step back. And how do you like balance this opportunity and like I'm sure a lot of people are pushing you to scale the business between with your own like desire to have some more peace and calm. Like how do you put those together?
Honestly, I found my balance, let's say 5 years ago, by having a certain routine, a daily routine, and an annual routine, let's say. So my daily routine is waking up early, and I sleep early. Of course, it starts by sleeping early. So we're talking about 11:30 maximum. And waking up early, 6:37.
Okay.
Okay. And then drinking my coffee and having my 30, 40 minutes peace. And then exercising. Of course, that would be the time where my daughters goes to school. So I like to be with them in the morning and
Yeah.
see them, go to school and making sure that they're okay and everything is fine. And then exercising for 1 hour. And it's a heavy exercise. So it range between cardio and weightlifting.
You do that at home?
I do that at home. And recently I took it to the next level with a personal trainer. So I've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I think now it became, so easy and I have to push it. So
Yeah.
I got a personal trainer.
You need
who's
someone to
pushing
make
me
you do
now,
those
and-
extra reps.
Exactly. And I regret it. No, actually, I love it. I love it because she is really pushing me. And I'm thinking about the future. So it has so many aspects. It has
Yeah.
an aspect too, to be energized and to have that, dopamine kick. And at the same time, building for the future. Building muscles, thinking
yeah.
about, my retirement and thinking about what I want to do in the future. I want to travel, I want to do hiking, I want to do so many things. So I want to be physically fit.
Yes.
So, and then, getting ready for the office. I like really to look, professional, sleek, having my makeup done, wearing the right abaya, selecting the right bag with the right abaya.
Wow.
I really like to put that time.
You
Okay,
enjoy
not
it?
just exactly.
Do you enjoy that?
Of course.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Of course.
Well, I don't.
No, I love it. And really, buying the right shoes with the right abaya, with the right bag, because I like it. I
Yeah.
like to be with a certain image and go to the office, even if I don't have client meetings. But that's for me. Okay? Then going to the office, doing my, thing, attending the meetings and all of that, and coming back at night, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, taking off that hat in the car, because probably the car ride in Riyadh is long. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking about business and solutions and all of that.
Transitioning.
Exactly. And getting into home with, motherly thinking, soft,
Yeah, it's very
changing
different.
the voice, tone, thinking, flowers and
Is this your motherly tone?
kind of.
Yeah.
Starting to hugging and, because I have daughters and they love to hug.
Oh.
So you would expect when you come home, they will hug you. They need to be hugged as well. So really, believe me, it is a hat that I'm taking off.
Yeah.
Being a manager, being strict, dealing with labor, dealing with problems, and going home and being soft and nice. And, talking in a completely different tone. And listening to all their, stories at school and problems, and supporting my husband with also his own, problems at the office and dealing with people and all of that. And on an annual level, okay, I really plan my vacations, and I tell my team, to be able to take a break, you really need to have fun. Okay, don't take a vacation and just stay at home, or go to a nearby city where everything
That
there.
you always go to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plan your vacation. You have a good income. Plan it ahead of time. Get good discounts and do new things. So I plan for my vacation with my husband. He does a lot, and he put a lot of effort in planning vacations. So every year we do something different, completely different, exploring, new cities and new countries. And there's a very important aspect of balancing my life that I learned from my father. And it falls into 4 different quadrants. One, the spiritual aspect of your life, the physical aspect of your life, the social, I said social?
No.
Okay, the spiritual, physical, social aspect of your life, and of course, the financial aspect of your life. So the financial falls into the work,
Right.
whatever you do every day and your business and all of that. And then the spiritual, where it comes the the spiritual and the Islamic performing, salah, dua, making sure that you have that faith that, God willing of whatever is happening, going to Mecca, making Umrah, performing all these, acts is very important. And it is really a break for me during the day. Because when you think of Salah as meditation,
Yeah.
it is the way we do we meditate.
Yep.
Really, as Muslim, the way we meditate is performing Salah. So you're taking a break from the craziness of the
Yes.
day and stopping everything, not checking your phone, not checking your email, not talking to anyone, just staying there, praying and taking a break, and then going back to that. So that pause is really important, and it's there, but so many people don't do it. But learning this, performs from my father and from people who did it and succeeded in life,
Yeah.
and start applying it right. Really, really, it's the right balance. So going back to those 4 quadrants, the second one is the social life. If I leave myself just, without thinking and planning, probably I'll be working all the time. Probably. And even my kids, when they go to sleep, probably I will do some, things that I need to focus on. But making sure that things are being done at the right time is very important. So I really fulfill the social life as well.
Yeah.
With starting with the most important people,
Yeah.
and then expanding to a bigger circle and, and friends and outer, networking events and all of that. So ticking the box with my mother first, with my sisters, with my best friends who live in a different city right now, and then my bigger circle of friends, and then my uncles and my aunts and my cousins, and we come from a very big family, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that I really need to connect with.
And is that something you have to schedule in, or does that just happen naturally?
Definitely, if I don't plan for it,
Yeah.
it will never happen.
Yeah.
It will never happen. So I really plan to tick the box of being social, whether with friends or with cousins or with family.
Yep.
Because it takes away the stress and the ongoing thinking of, the projects and the business. So it really releases the stress and put me in a different mood and remind me of, how to be social and to have fun even.
Yeah.
Yeah. The third quadrant is the, the financial, which we talking about it all the time. And I think that's it, صح?
We're missing one.
Spiritual,
social, financial,
physical. Yeah.
While scheduling your workout.
Yeah, and making sure that you eat healthy, taking care of your physical health, mental health, and all of that.
So by being mindful of these 4 quadrants and making sure they're all in your calendar and scheduled helps you to not want to quit on the financial quadrant. It makes a lot of sense.
It is complicated, but honestly, I found my balance there.
Yeah.
By planning all these, parts. Because as an entrepreneur, you could end up doing work all the time.
I think that's something I definitely need to do better at, because I do just default to working because that's what comes naturally, that's what I like, that's what I'm good at, and like the other stuff, I don't know, you don't get the same dopamine
Yeah.
fix from,
Exactly.
I don't know, doing stuff in the house. Yeah, that's really good advice. So, I have some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
Favorite item to gift?
A bonsai tree. You know the bonsai?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Best purchase this past year under 500 SAR?
Actually, I have two things.
Yeah, please.
Power bank. I cannot live without power bank because I travel a lot and all of that.
Yeah.
And I bought a box of earplugs when I was traveling. I don't remember where. Earplugs.
Yeah. So
And I use it.
noise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I use it when I'm in the airplane and when I sleep. I have to wear earplugs every day.
Oh,
Something, yeah.
that's
special.
helped. Favorite food or dessert to bring to a party?
Without any thinking, brownies.
Brownies that you buy or you make
No, mostly I buy.
from any particular
There are so many
bakery?
shops,
There's
but
so
my
many?
favorite is I forgot the name of the shop, honestly.
Okay, but your friends know Sarah's gonna bring the brownies.
Exactly. Yep.
Quote or mantra you live by?
Honestly, this is something also I learned from my father. Money is in your hands, not in your heart. As soon as money become in your heart and it's the only thing that satisfy you, then everything in your life is not right. You're very greedy, you know.
Yeah.
So money in your hand is not in your heart. You have to always remember it's a mean. It's
Yeah,
not
the
something you
tool.
should love.
One small detail that always elevates a space.
That's very easy. A tree.
Okay. When you look ahead in the coming years, what most excites you, personally or professionally or both?
Um, Honestly, seeing my daughters growing up, and now my eldest one is going to college next year.
Wow.
So I'm excited for that phase, to see her grow and to experience real outside life with her. Um, and professionally, alhamdulillah, the business is stable now and things are being run by the team most of the time. My interaction is limited now, not as much as before. So it's not really depending on me as a person being there every day all the time.
Wow.
So having that is giving me an opportunity to think of new business ideas.
And doing art again, right?
Definitely, definitely.
That's amazing.
But the other project is I don't think it's financially very rewarding
yeah.
as much as it's something I love to do, which is art and plantation. Not flowers. I love greenery. I love trees. I love wood. So it's not the flowers.
Cereals.
Yeah. I have a small Pinterest board. It's not too small. It's a good size Pinterest board where I gathered so many images of how the shop is going to look like. It's a small shop, not too big, but really well done in terms of material selection, natural lighting, the selection of the trees, and it's going to be a shop where sells plants and trees, and it's done in a very artistic way. I've seen ideas in around Europe everywhere,
Really?
and I gathered those ideas in a Pinterest, and every day I keep on adding and changing and adding and changing. So I'm really looking forward for that
Oh, that's fun.
stage.
Yeah.
And also, it's not only a shop to sell plants, it has a small coffee shop where people can sit, enjoy the environment, buy the gift, and drink coffee, meet their friends, and I will be there. because I can't imagine myself growing up, let's say by end of 50s or 60 years old and just staying at home. I want to be
Yeah.
where a place where people can come and say hello, and clients I met long time ago and can buy some coffee and we talk about the old days.
Oh, I love
I can't
that.
imagine myself being trapped in that house. And I see so many elderly people. Exactly. They're doing nothing. They're depending on their kids and their children and grandchildren to make them happy. That's my point.
Yeah.
No, I want to be out there because all my life I was, meeting people, and I want to continue meeting people, but maybe not serving them, maybe just socializing. So I have this idea. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but it's very vivid and clear in my head.
And
So inshallah, it's going to happen.
oh, I love that. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you'd like to add?
No, I think maybe rephrasing the 4 quadrants to work-life balance.
Yeah.
The right word for that is work-life balance. And I saw some also professional females,
Yeah.
friends of mine, who's posting about work-life balance that it doesn't exist. Okay, a friend of mine.
Okay.
She's also a business owner, and she was posting that a work-life balance doesn't exist. But honestly, I don't believe in that because I was put in certain situations where I had to prioritize where to put my time.
Yes.
Should it be with my family and my kids at that point of time,
Right.
or I should go to an important meeting with a minister or with someone very important, and and I had to make that choice.
Yes.
And where I compromise the time with for example, with my daughter, I made it up with her in a different situation, and I explained to her why did I do that
Yes.
by involving my kids in my decisions.
Yep.
They need to know why, for example, I didn't attend that event at school.
Mm-hmm.
When they understand why did I choose this over this, they will learn a lot. And that's an amazing lesson that a stay-at-home mom would never be able to give it to her kids. So it's again giving back to them something valuable and expanding their way of thinking.
Yes. Oh, it does so much. That's one of the things I've been trying to do too. Like if I have to take a phone call when I'm with the kids or something, I'll explain to them why I had to take it, what's going on, and yeah, they really learn from that. And also like it's different at different stages of your life.
Yeah.
And at some points you devote more to your kids and to your family, and sometimes you have to like give more to your work, like inevitably, especially when you're first starting out.
Definitely.
But I also think too, like obviously it's different for everyone, but like taking inventory of like your family unit, extended family as a whole, like what does everyone have to give? What's the priority? Because like for me, especially in the beginning, like my husband's the breadwinner. So his career and his work comes before mine. And as much as I'm passionate and believe in what I'm doing and I know it's going to be great and big one day, like the priorities of our family is my husband's work.
Yeah.
So like kind of coming to terms, and for everyone it's different, you have different resources, different people in your life. So I think just seeing also like what's the priority for your contribution to the family, and also, obviously you still want to do like what you love and what lights you up, but I don't know, just like taking that all into
No, I
account.
completely understand. But in every situation, you can look at the bright side of it. Okay. I'll give you an example. I really respect the housewives who are working from home, doing what the only thing that they know how to do, cooking, for example. And some of them are very successful financially while being at home. Because, for example, her husband didn't allow her to work,
Yep.
outside. So, looking at the positive side of each situation, you will always find opportunities, and you will always find, a solution.
So, how can everyone follow you, follow FBS and the journey? What platforms?
Honestly, the best two platform that is really active and exciting is the Instagram and the LinkedIn.
Okay.
Both are active, and there's a lot of content. And as I said, it's very personal and funny and engaging. And I hope it shows the reality of what we do, and keep people passionate about design and construction.
Amazing. Well, I look forward to following more of your journey and learning more about that field, as I know pretty much nothing about it. I mean, until after this conversation, now I've been enlightened. But thank you so much, Sara, for coming and sharing your story with us and sharing your tips and wisdom. I learned a lot, and I'm sure the viewers and listeners are really going to take a lot from our discussion. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.